This is Nightline.
Tonight, Wendy Williams' emergency? The former daytime TV host whisked out of her assisted living facility and taken to a hospital by ambulance, surrounded by police. The note she allegedly dropped out of her window. Plus, Gypsy-Rose Blanchard opening up about motherhood.
My daughter needs me, and I need to mature up and do right by her.
And where her life is now.
I went to an ATM and I realized I've never got money out of an ATM before, so.
After spending nearly a decade behind bars for a role in her abusive mother's murder.
I want her to know that my mom wasn't a villain.
And the new mom moment that left her in tears.
Suddenly I was asking more questions than I had answers to.
And a big blow to the Menendez brothers. The new DA throwing up a new roadblock.
Our position is that they shouldn't get out of jail.
Dashing the siblings' hopes of being released early. Their infamous case making headlines again after a hit fictionalized series put them back in the spotlight.
Eric and I killed our parents together, so I'd say that makes us pretty close.
What the district attorney said the brothers still need to do to walk free. And thank you for joining us. Tonight, New York City police responding to a 911 call at Wendy Williams' assisted living facility about a woman in distress. The former daytime TV host reportedly dropping a note out of her window saying, "Help, Wendy." She was taken to the hospital for a cognitive exam, walking in her own to the ambulance. Williams has previously been diagnosed with dementia, which she disputes. Williams is scheduled to call into The View this Friday. We will, of course, continue to follow this story as it develops. We turn now to Gypsy-Rose Blanchard, starting a new chapter, giving birth to a baby girl a year after her release from prison. And she says, settling into normal family life. Here's ABC's Trevor Ault.
I had a moment that I was holding her and I was feeding her. And she was so peaceful in my arms. And I just looked down at her and I started crying.
For just about everybody, becoming a parent for the first time is an adjustment. But for Gypsy-Rose Blanchard, who gave birth to daughter Aurora 3 months ago, motherhood is particularly complicated.
And I had the realization that I was once that little. I was once a little innocent baby. And all these emotions surfaced. And I understood even more, how could a mother ever harm their child? And suddenly I was asking more questions than I had answers to.
Now 33, Gypsy-Rose's life has largely been defined by her troubled childhood. The victim of her mother Dee Dee's psychological disorder, Munchausen syndrome by proxy, where one person seeks attention through a victim's made-up illnesses. By the time she was 8 years old, life for Gypsy was non-stop pills and procedures. She was confined to a wheelchair, her mother telling doctors Gypsy had an array of illnesses, including leukemia and paralysis from the neck down. She was forced to undergo numerous procedures, including eye surgeries, a feeding tube, and the removal of her salivary glands.
Is there anything specifically that you want your daughter to know about your mom?
I want her to know that my mom wasn't a villain. The bigger conversation is about mental illness. And I think that if I can explain to my daughter that, you know, her grandma was not evil, not a monster, but she was very sick. And I think by putting it that way, I take control over the narrative.
That narrative shocked the nation.
This is the house where Claudinia Blanchard was found stabbed to death.
At age 23, Gypsy plotted with her then-boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, to kill her mother. Gypsy would eventually plead guilty to second-degree murder.
Guilty.
Godejohn was convicted of carrying out the stabbing death and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. After nearly a decade behind bars, Gypsy was released in late 2023 and immediately stepped into the public eye with her wildly popular social media posts.
Hey everyone, this is Gypsy. I'm finally free.
And 2 Lifetime docuseries, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy-Rose Blanchard and Gypsy-Rose, Life After Lockup.
Now that you've been free for a year, do you feel like you have your footing finally?
There's still things I'm adjusting to. Literally, I went to get coffee and I went to an ATM and I realized I've never got money out of an ATM before, so. but it didn't work. I'm like, am I doing this right?
By her side, Ken Erker, her boyfriend and the father of her baby.
Ken has been an amazing father. He's not afraid to change poopy diapers. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's been really wonderful and supportive.
The pair met when she was in prison and even got engaged, then went their separate ways before reconnecting last year. Their journey as a couple and as new parents documented in the new series of Lifetime's Life After Lockup.
So, I feel like I don't want to put him in any sort of like a negative headspace. And I don't want him to have resentment towards me for like how fast everything moved. Like I told him, I don't want him to stay because of the baby. I want him to want this relationship to work.
Complicating matters is Gypsy's divorce from her husband of 2 years, middle school teacher Ryan Anderson. They too met while she was in prison. He was waiting for her when she got out.
What if I snore?
Well, then we got to get a divorce right away.
The pair at the time speaking to ABC's Deborah Roberts.
Did you get your happy ending?
I think he did.
Time will tell. I think I'm a Prince Charming.
But soon after that interview, Gypsy filed for divorce, talking with Nightline co-anchor Juju Chang.
What went so wrong so fast?
Well, I think people need to understand that Ryan and I had been in a relationship for 3 years. And sometimes relationships just take its course, and that's what happened. So I reached out to my attorney a few days ago. And she texted me back and she said, let me get the text. I'll have the paperwork for you to sign this week. I said, meaning the divorce will be final soon? She said, yes, ma'am. So.
Okay. Very soon then.
I know that you've talked about the timeline of wishing to be able to fully get the divorce behind before then becoming parents. Right. Has this been a challenge for you?
I mean, I think that it was a little bit messy, of course. I think that if we could go back and do it all over again, we would have done it a little bit better for all of us involved. But it's just how life happens sometimes, and we have a loving household, and that's kind of what we're focused on.
How is Gypsy as a mom?
She's been a rock star of a mom. I mean, she's been doing most of the hard stuff, like a lot of the night shifts and the cluster feedings. And to be honest, she's with her 24/7, where I go to work sometimes, or she'll go back home to cut off and take her with her. So I'm truly lucky to have her as the mother of Aurora. Yeah, she's been great.
What do you think is the question I can ask Ken that will make him most uncomfortable?
When he's gonna propose.
Okay.
I want to marry Gypsy because I love Gypsy, and I'm proud to have her as a partner. I'm proud to have her as a parent in my life, and those are the reasons why I want us to take that step, and I believe that we'll get there very soon.
Do you think that motherhood has changed you as a person?
I think it has. I was always so immature that having a child, I had to grow up fast. It was no longer, okay, I give myself the grace, I didn't have a childhood, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I had to put that in the past and focus on, okay, I'm a mother. This little baby depends on me. My daughter needs me, and I need to mature up and do right by her.
She says she's looking to her stepmom, Christy, and Ken's mom as a role model for her parenting.
What's the most important thing you want to teach Aurora?
I want to teach her compassion for others, and to not judge people. I feel like I've been judged so much in the media and social media in the public eye.
What do you want those people to know about you, about your daughter, and about your relationship?
I want people to know I am not my mother. I am my own self, and I have freedom now. And so I don't feel like it's fair for people to take that freedom to have a family or make a life for myself, have a second chance. The judicial system gave me a second chance. Why shouldn't they?
Our thanks to Trevor. Gypsy-Rose, Life After Lockup, airs Monday at 9 p.m. on Lifetime. When we come back, the DA's office changing course in the Menendez brothers as the siblings shot at freedom hangs in the balance. Could California's governor be their last hope? Welcome back. After more than 3 decades in prison, it seemed Eric and Lyle Menendez had a real chance at freedom. Interest in their case ramped up last year after a Netflix series brought their infamous story to a whole new audience. And the then district attorney seemed open to considering their case through a modern lens. Those hopes dashed today, but could another be opening up?
Good morning.
Today, the Los Angeles County DA lashing out against the Menendez brothers as their path to freedom narrows.
The Menendezes have basically engaged in not just the ultimate lie of self-defense, but a whole series of lies around it.
Nathan Hochman announcing the court will move forward with its resentencing proceedings despite his office's opposition.
Our position is that they shouldn't get out of jail. Now, ultimately, that is a position. We bring that position to the court. The court can agree with it. The court can disagree with it.
We don't know how much weight what the DA said will have with the judge. It's going to be up to the judge, but typically what a prosecutor says has a lot of weight.
Robert Rand is an author and journalist who's covered the case over the past 35 years. He stood with the extended Menendez family late last year when they publicly asked for the brothers to be released.
I was very disappointed in DA Nathan Hochman's news conference. He tried to highlight 16 different lies that the Menendez brothers made in that first trial. And all of those lies were litigated and resolved in the first trial.
Hochman also highlighting the power that California Governor Gavin Newsom has in the case.
He has unilateral constitutional power to commute the Menendez's sentences if he chooses and release them today. There is no hearing he needs to have, there is no deadline, and he can also do nothing.
Meanwhile, Governor Newsom making headlines of his own today. The governor is proposing an overhaul to California's parole process that could clear the way for many inmates in the state to have their sentences shortened. It's been 3 decades since Lyle and Eric infamously killed their parents inside their Beverly Hills home. The brothers say years of sexual abuse by their father drove them to murder.
Eric and I killed our parents together, so I'd say that makes us pretty close.
Late last year, many watched the dramatized Netflix series that dominated the streaming charts.
And you were never to touch him. Not ever.
A trauma barely understood at the time that men could be sexually abused too, suddenly looked at through a modern lens. That momentum pushing former Los Angeles DA George Gascon to re-examine the case and call for the brothers' resentencing and release. Speaking to my colleague, Matt Gutman.
I am recommending that they be released because I believe that the people that they were at age 19 and 21 is not the same people that we're seeing 35 years later.
But Gascon was voted out of office in November, and now the power lies with DA Hochman.
The court should deny the current habeas petition by the Menendez brothers.
Last month, Hochman said he would not support the brothers' attempt for a new trial. It was one of only 3 possible paths to release the brothers.
The door seems to be closing a little bit on resentencing. Clemency is now looking like the most likely way that they would get out of prison if Governor Gavin Newsom wants to do that.
I believe that Governor Newsom being involved in the case is very important. I don't think it'll happen immediately, but I believe Eric and Lyle Menendez will be released from prison.
What's the problem? What's the problem? Someone killed my parents. Pardon me?
No one could believe that these 2 young men had killed their parents this way.
It was the shocking Beverly Hills double murder. A prominent husband and wife gunned down by their own children in cold blood.
Entertainment executive Jose Menendez and his wife were slain in the family room of their Beverly Hills mansion.
Eric and Lyle Menendez, the sharp-jawed, brooding brothers.
There was something deeply evil about it that scared people.
I'm just a normal kid.
Oh, Eric, you're a normal kid who killed your parents.
Yeah, I know.
Remember, this was not a whodunit. This was why.
Physical, verbal, psychological, sexual abuse that went on for years.
Lyle and Eric Menendez are stone cold murderers. Abuse does not justify a revenge killing. Never, 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 ever.
Now, in the eyes of many, the Menendez brothers have seemingly gone from public enemies to victims.
Did you think what was happening with you and your father was normal or abnormal?
I knew it was extremely abnormal, and I wasn't going to let anyone find out.
In their 1993 trial, allegations of sexual abuse by Jose laid bare in testimony. Abuse the brothers say their mother enabled.
I just told him that I didn't want to do this, and that it hurt me. And he said that he didn't mean to hurt me, and he loved me.
I have always thought that if the Menendez brothers were the Menendez sisters, they'd be free today. Would have been convicted. But an abuse victim often gets some kind of clemency.
But some still believe the brothers killed for money and that the jury got it right.
The parents were sitting in the den watching TV. Did they have any weapons? No.
I thought that when Lyle described the killing of his mother, that a normal jury would find it reprehensible and convict him. We loved our mother. Oh yeah, really? You loved your mother? You blew her up?
Milton Anderson, an uncle of Eric and Lyle, previously said the brothers should not be released, saying in a statement, when Eric and Lyle Menendez executed their parents, Kitty and Jose Menendez, they not only cut short 2 lives, they also shattered an entire family, and that their motive was pure greed. Anderson, who was the only living family member that publicly opposed the release, passed away last week. Meanwhile, one of Eric and Lyle's cousins lodging a complaint with the U.S. Attorney's Office today against D.A. Hochman, alleging that during a recent meeting his behavior was inappropriate.
The family members in this filing are saying that they don't feel like the new DA has been listening to them.
Hochman says the Menendez's own behavior is the key to their future.
We have laid out a pathway for the Menendez brothers to potentially get out of jail. It requires them to finally, after 30-plus years, fully acknowledge and completely accept responsibility for the entire breadth of the crimes and all the lies that they have told, including their defense at trial of self-defense.
For now, the brothers' resentencing hearing is still set for later this month. When we come back, eaglet triplets now eating like kings. And finally tonight, and now there are 3. That family of bald eagles in the mountains of Southern California. Many around the world watching this nest via the Friends of Big Bear Valley live cam. Parents Jackie and Shadow welcoming a 3rd eaglet over the weekend. Now spending their time filling their hungry new mouths with freshly caught fish. The nonprofit organization will soon start a contest for the public to name the babies, with the local elementary school choosing the winners. And that's Nightline for this evening. Catch our full episodes on Hulu. We'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Thanks for the company, America. Good night.